Hello everyone, what's up? It's Swang. What is a webtoon producer? I know I've been titling all of my videos with day in the life of a webtoon producer this, webtoon producer that, and I don't think I've ever explained exactly what my job is and exactly what I do. If you're interested in getting to know more about, what a webtoon producer is and what they do, and if that's something you're interested in pursuing, hopefully this will be a very helpful and useful video for you. So without further ado, let's jump straight in and yeah, hope you enjoy. First of all, I'm going to talk a little bit about what exactly a webtoon producer is, and I'm going to kind of compare it to film and animation. It is very important to kind of compare the webtoon producer role to some established industries and their job roles and job descriptions. So for producers in animation, usually they are kind of the person that starts the project and the person that gets the idea. And then once they have the idea, they kind of send it off to the director who handles all of the creative decisions, and then they are left to handle all of the management, production pipeline, all of the nitty-gritty detailed stuff. These are the people who would just be very, like, I guess type A, like very time management, very scheduled. And then they got the director of an animation project, and the director is the one that kind of handles all of the creative decisions. So the director would decide the style of the animation, look over, the storyboards, the layout, the sound, the music. If they're going to hire any voice actors, they would be very involved in that process, and just making sure that the vibe and the style and the tone of the story is very aligned, and everyone within the creative team is in on this one creative vision. So in film and TV, it's a little bit different because there are different kinds of moving parts, if that makes sense. First of all, if we're going to start from the very beginning, you've got the executive producer and the producer. Now these two roles are kind of similar to animation, where they kind of are the seedling of the idea. In film and TV, the producer usually manages more things related to the budget side, and not only just like finances, because making movies is very, very expensive. The producer is not only somebody who is like very social, but also somebody who has like a very strong artistic vision. It's a lot more, I'd say, big picture, if that makes sense. The producer is definitely the cheerleader and the starting point of the whole production, and once they kind of bring the right idea and the right director together, they kind of have to let go of the production process and hope for the best, and then just cheer them on and give them any kind of financial or whatever support they need. Everybody knows the director of a film or TV production is their creative heart, if that makes sense. The director has a hawk eye on every single creative decision made in the film. They're the ones that, kind of decide the actors, the cinematographer, how each shot is made, how, each shot is filmed, the script, the vibe of the story, all of these like nitty-gritty things. They literally have creative decision over everything that dictates the quality and the impact of the film. And so with that, I'm going to kind of explain, with this background in mind, what a webtoon producer does, because it's a little bit of a mixture of both. We have two different roles of producers. We've got the creative producer and we've got the associate producers. So webtoon producers, specifically webtoon creative producers, kind of have both the producer and the directorial roles when it comes to comparing it to film and TV. We have producerial kind of tasks, such as, like I said, in film and TV, the producer is kind of like the start of the project. For Webtoon as well, and for our jobs, we are also kind of the start of the project. We are the ones that pitch the project. We are the ones that find the right people for the project. We are the ones that consider the effectiveness of the project, whether or not we should pursue it or not. And so really the sapling, the seed, the idea comes from us, the creative producers, and it is very similar to animation because they are the ones that kind of really get the wheels turning and are the very early phases of the production. A webtoon creative producer also has kind of a lot of similarities with a director in both film and animation, because like I mentioned, the director is the one that makes a lot of the creative decision, and they kind of make sure the mood and the tone and the aesthetic of the project is all very aligned, and they're the ones that kind of direct the creative team. And a lot of the times when I'm finding the team, I am thinking about, you know, what kind of style, what kind of vision, what kind of vibes do I want this, you know, webtoon to have. And every single teammate that I onboard to the team, I'm considering whether or not their qualities and their style really adds to the project and adds to that specific vision that I have in mind. Every single week, on a weekly basis, I am also making sure that their art and their work aligns with that vision. So when I give edits, and when I, you know, look over the script and give feedback, I'm always making sure, hey, does this work for Webtoon? Hey, does this align with the overall tone, style, mood, overarching goal of the story? Definitely a mixture between producing and directing, but we just call it creative producer. We are the ones that contact and communicate with external brands and IP if they want to collaborate with us, work with us, and we make sure that we align what they want and their vision seamlessly into the webtoon that we're making. Yes, we sometimes write the story. Yes, we come up with the story idea and feasibility, and we look for the artists and we decide who gets to be the writer, who gets to be on the art team. And yes, we look at the weekly, day-to-day, all of the art they turn in and give them feedback to make sure it aligns with the story. So that is my job, and that is what I do as a creative producer. And so because there is a lot more to manage than just the, you know, beginning seedlings of the project and the creative decision, we've got so many other small things that we need to handle, such as contracts, invoices, production pipeline, managing the day-to-day deadlines. All of these kinds of things still needs to be addressed, and this is where the associate producer comes in with a very, very important role of just making sure everything runs smoothly, making sure the artists get paid, making sure, you know, their invoices are filtered through correctly, making sure the weekly schedule, nobody's, you know, late, managing the contracts, onboarding the artists. All of these kinds of things will be handled by our associate producer. And so usually on a project we'll have one creative producer and one associate producer, and we kind of tag team to help each other out. And now moving on to the second part of the video, where I kind of talk about the projects I've worked on and the projects I'm currently working on and what my roles were within the project. And so yeah, I started out as a writer, and I can go all the way to the very beginning. My first project that got published was Table for Two. It was while I was an intern, and this is the first time I worked with Siobhan, which I was a big fan of back in the day. I was not the producer, I was the writer. And so Susan was the producer. She is currently the producer of Bat Family. I just wrote the script and I sent it out, and Susan managed the whole entire thing. And then my second project that I kind of worked on starting during the internship was Spells from Hell, and you guys know I am the producer for it and I'm the writer for it. And so I started out only being the writer for it because it launched during Webtoon Greenlight, and I created the idea with Maria and Quinn produced it. And once I got onboarded as a full-time producer at Webtoon, this is after I graduated and the internship was over, I was then transitioned from writer to producer. And so that's when my producerial experience really began. And then afterwards, I launched American Road Trip. And so American Road Trip was a project that was passed off to me. I did not have to find the artist, I did not have to find the writer. I definitely was just producing it. And so producing meant looking at, as I've mentioned, all of the phases, storyboard / thumbnail, line art, final art, and just making sure that everything looked good, there are no typos, there are no errors, and if there were errors, I would address them. Since then, I have also launched Archie Big FL Energy as a producer, and this is the first project where I worked with another company in order to make this project. Definitely Archie Comics is a little bit more of a complex project that requires a bigger team and requires more communication. I was the one that reached out to Siobhan again for being the main artist. I was the one that found the other teammates that would help Siobhan create the episode on a weekly basis, and now they have such a seamless and such an efficient kind of weekly production pipeline. And there's a couple other projects that are kind of like behind the scenes cooking up, waiting to happen. I have been looking at artists, I have been looking at story ideas, I have been looking at the beginning stages of production and just making sure that the team works really well together. Being a producer you need to wear a lot of hats, and I think that's kind of a given for a producer in any industry. And that's definitely also why I like the role, because it really tests kind of like different aspects of your knowledge. Not only do you need to be creative, but you also have to be very disciplined and very organized and have like a lot of good management habits. And not only that, it requires a lot of communication. You have to talk to artists all the time, you have to talk to your team, and it also requires a lot of leadership. Sometimes you need to make really difficult decisions, and sometimes you have to talk about really difficult things. So I think it really tests a lot of facets of your personality. Yeah, not only do we kind of make sure the production is good, we also make sure that everyone is enjoying themselves within the team and everyone feels like they have a very good contribution to the project. And so truly, I really enjoy my job. Anyways, I hope this was useful, informative for you. If anything, I just wanted to make this video to kind of clear some things up, and if anyone has any questions, this is definitely the video they can go to. And without further ado, I am going to end the video here. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you have a wonderful day, a wonderful week, and with that, I will see you guys next week.